While exploring a rarely trodden trail, a group of hikers was taken aback by an unusual sight, a massive structure resembling a nest nestled in a clearing. It was an oddity, far too large and complex to be the work of any known animal. As they approached, the quiet of the bushland was pierced by a faint human voice from within the nest pleading, "Help me!" This startling discovery quickly turned their leisurely hike into a rescue mission. Corey, Alex, Hannah and Mila, each a silhouette against the dim morning sky, gathered at the trailhead. Their breaths, visible in the cool air, mingled with the gentle hues of dawn. The excitement for their monthly tradition was palpable as they checked their gear, ready for the day's adventure. "This way," Mila announced, pointing towards a less trodden path that snaked through dry bushland. Her choice sparked a mix of reactions. Corey looked intrigued, Alex seemed hesitant, and Hannah's expression held a note of skepticism. "Trust me," Mila smiled, her confidence unshaken by her friend's varied responses. With the first light of the sun casting a golden glow over the landscape, the group set off. The path ahead wound through gently rolling hills, bordered by the untamed beauty of the bushland. The early light seemed to promise new discoveries, urging them forward into the day's embrace. As they hiked, the friends chatted, their voices weaving through the crisp morning air. Mila, leading the group, often glanced back, ensuring her friends were enjoying the trail. She shared anecdotes about the bushland, trying to keep spirits high and validate her choice of the less traveled path. Gradually, the unique beauty of the bushland began to reveal itself. Sunlight filtered through sparse trees, casting dappled patterns on the ground. "It's different, but beautiful," Hannah conceded, her initial doubts fading. The others nodded in agreement, their early hesitations giving way to an appreciation of Mila's choice. "Look at that view," Mila exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement as she pointed towards a distant ridge bathed in sunlight. Her enthusiasm was infectious, and soon enough, the others were sharing in her delight, their eyes following every gesture she made. Mila took the lead, pointing out various birds and small animals that darted through the underbrush, adding a sense of wonder to their journey. As they walked, the group fondly reminisced about their past hikes. "Remember the waterfall we found last summer?" Alex said with a nostalgic smile. Each memory brought laughter and a deeper sense of connection. The tranquility of the bushland began to envelop them. The usual sounds of a dense forest were absent, replaced by a serene quietude that seemed almost otherworldly. "It's so peaceful here," Hannah murmured, her voice barely above a whisper, as if to preserve the stillness. The simplicity of the trail, in contrast with their previous, more rugged hikes, offered a refreshing change. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, the landscape transformed. Shadows shortened, and the bushland seemed to awaken fully. The group paused frequently, captivated by the stunning vistas and the vivid colors of the awakening day. With each step, their sense of adventure deepened. "I wonder what's around that bend," Corey mused, looking ahead with a spark of curiosity in his eyes. The path, less traveled and full of mystery, promised more discoveries as they ventured deeper into the bushland. Corey, who had been scanning the horizon, suddenly halted. "Do you see that?" he asked, pointing towards a peculiar shape in the distance. The others gathered around, squinting against the sunlight. There, nestled among a cluster of trees, was an unusual formation that stood out starkly against the natural landscape, piquing their collective curiosity. Could it be some sort of giant nest? Hannah wondered aloud, her brow furrowed in thought. The group bunched closer, each offering their guesses. "It's too big for any bird I know," Mila added, her voice tinged with intrigue. The strange structure, visible yet enigmatic, sparked a flurry of theories and conjectures among the friends. Driven by curiosity, they agreed to detour towards the mysterious shape. With each step, the structure grew clearer, yet its nature remained elusive. The path they chose wound through denser foliage, the sense of adventure growing as they moved closer to uncovering the unknown. As they neared, the size and complexity of the nest became more apparent. It was unlike anything they had ever seen, a labyrinth of branches and materials intricately woven together. The group paused, absorbing the sight, the oddity of the structure stirring a mix of awe and uncertainty in their hearts. The nest, now a focal point of their hike, ignited a torrent of questions and hypotheses. "What if it's some kind of art installation?" Alex suggested, his eyes tracing the structure's contours. "Or maybe a shelter," Mila pondered, her gaze locked on the enigmatic formation. Their conversation bubbled with excitement and wonder, the mystery of the nest binding them in a shared quest for answers. The group reached the base of the nest, instantly taken aback by its monumental size and the intricate detail of its construction. It towered over them, a tangle of branches and unknown materials, clearly not the work of any known animal. They circled the structure in awe, trying to make sense of its presence in the middle of the bushland. "Could someone actually have built this?" Alex asked, his voice tinged with skepticism. "Or maybe it's something left behind, forgotten," Corey pondered, examining the materials closely. Hannah, however, remained silent, her eyes scanning the nest with a cautious intrigue. Theories abounded among them, from human artifice to unknown natural phenomena, but no definitive conclusion could be reached. Intrigued beyond caution, Mila stepped forward, her hand reaching out to touch the mysterious structure. "Wait, Mila!" Hannah called out, a note of worry in her voice. "We don't know what it is or if it's safe." Mila hesitated, her hand hovering in the air, torn between curiosity and the concern in Hannah's voice. A hush fell over the group as they contemplated the nest's potential dangers. The atmosphere grew tense with unspoken fears and questions. What lay within this enigmatic structure? Could it be hazardous? Hannah's expression mirrored the unease that had begun to take root in each of them, the thrill of discovery now tinged with a hint of dread. They were about to step back and continue their hike when Mila froze, her head tilting in a listening pose. "Did you hear that?" she whispered. The others paused, straining their ears. From within the depths of the nest, a faint, almost imperceptible voice emerged, murmuring, "Help me." The words hung in the air, ethereal and chilling, anchoring them to the spot in a mix of astonishment and apprehension. "I'm sure of it. There's someone in there," Mila asserted, her eyes wide with a mixture of fear and determination. She implored the others to be silent and listen. The group huddled close, their breaths held in anticipation. Mila's unwavering conviction stirred a sense of seriousness in the air as the others began to tune their ears to the faintest of sounds. "It could just be the wind," Alex suggested, trying to rationalize the situation. "Or maybe some animal," added Corey, though his voice lacked conviction. Despite their skepticism, there was an undercurrent of curiosity and concern. Hannah, too, appeared unconvinced, but remained attentive, her eyes fixed on the nest, as if trying to pierce its secrets. Then, as if in response to their disbelief, the voice came again, clearer this time, a plaintive "help me" echoing from the depths of the nest. This time, there was no denying it. The voice was unmistakably human. A collective shiver ran through the group as the reality of the situation began to sink in. The thought that someone could be trapped inside the nest transformed their intrigue into concern. "We can't just leave them," Hannah said, her voice tinged with urgency. The group exchanged glances, each face reflecting a mix of fear and resolve. The fun of their hike had been replaced by a sobering sense of responsibility. "We have to check it out," Mila stated firmly, her resolve now mirrored in her friend's expressions. Nodding in agreement, they approached the nest with a new purpose. They readied themselves for whatever lay ahead, united in their mission. The group circled the massive nest, probing for any gap or entrance. Their hands brushed over the rough surface, pushing aside twigs and leaves, but the nest's construction was dense and impenetrable. Frustration began to mount as they realized that the structure offered no obvious way in, its secrets guarded behind a labyrinth of tightly woven branches. As they searched, faint whispers emanated intermittently from the nest, each plea for help more urgent than the last. These ethereal voices seemed to be calling directly to them, urging them to quicken their efforts. The air around the nest thrummed with a mysterious energy, amplifying the urgency of their mission and deepening the enigma. Gathering around, the friends began to discuss potential strategies to breach the nest. "We could try to dismantle it piece by piece," Corey suggested, though he sounded unsure. "But what if that harms whoever's inside?" Hannah countered, her concern evident. The haunting whispers from within the nest reignited the group's determination. Their hands worked tirelessly, pulling at the more malleable sections, their collective effort driven by the urgency of the whispers that seemed to plead for their intervention. "What if one of us tries climbing to the top?" Corey suggested, eyeing the nest's towering height. "Or we could start removing some of these outer branches," Alex proposed, examining the nest's dense exterior. The voice from within the nest grew fainter, its pleas becoming more sporadic and hushed. After much discussion, they agreed on a cautious yet decisive plan. They would start by gently removing parts of the nest's outer layer, working carefully to avoid causing any potential harm. Each member of the group took a position around the nest, ready to begin the delicate process. With a shared look of determination, they started to dismantle the nest, piece by piece, committed to uncovering the mystery within. As they delved deeper, the complexity of the nest's construction became increasingly apparent. Occasionally, faint voices would drift out from the depths of the nest, each plea acting as a spur to their efforts. Despite their persistent efforts, the nest's core remained elusive. Corey, observing their limited progress, proposed a new idea. "Maybe we should split up," he suggested. "Some of us could go back for better tools. We need something more effective if we're going to get through this." "What if something happens while we're apart?" Hannah voiced her concern, mirroring the apprehension in Mila's eyes. After much deliberation, a consensus was reached. Despite their reservations, they recognized the necessity of having the right equipment to safely penetrate the nest. "Okay, let's do it," Mila finally agreed, her voice laced with reluctance. Alex, however, still harbored reservations. "Are you sure you'll be okay here without us?" he asked. The thought of leaving Hannah and Mila alone near the mysterious nest was unsettling to him. After a final round of hasty preparations, Corey and Alex set off back down the trail. Their steps were quick, driven by the urgency of their task. Hannah and Mila watched them disappear into the bushland, a mix of anxiety and resolve settling over them as they turned their attention back to the nest. With a sense of determination, Alex unfolded his small pocket knife and began to carefully cut into the outer layer of the nest. The task was daunting. The knife seemed almost insignificant against the nest's formidable structure. Corey, observing the futility of their efforts, voiced a growing realization. "This might be more than just a physical barrier," he said thoughtfully. "There could be something more complex at play here." But then they made a small little opening in the nest. Their persistence finally paid off as they peeled away enough layers to create an opening. Peering inside, they were met with an astonishing sight, a small, colourful parrot perched within. The bird's vibrant feathers were a stark contrast to the dark interior of the nest. For a moment, they could only stare in disbelief at this unexpected discovery. The parrot cocked its head, looking at them with curious eyes, and then, to their utter astonishment, it spoke in a clear, human-like voice. "Help me," it repeated, the same plea they had heard earlier. The group exchanged stunned looks, trying to process the surreal reality that the voice calling for help had been this parrot all along. A silence fell over the group as they absorbed this revelation. How could a parrot mimic human speech so accurately? The mystery of the nest had taken a turn into the realms of the extraordinary. They stood around the opening, each grappling with the shock and the sheer improbability of what they were witnessing. Regaining their composure, they carefully reached into the nest to retrieve the parrot. Mila gently cradled the bird in her hands, ensuring it was not harmed. They knew they needed to take it to a wildlife shelter where it could receive proper care and possibly find its way back to its rightful owner. As they prepared to leave the site, the group took a moment to reflect on their adventure. What had started as a routine hike had evolved into a rescue mission, unveiling a mystery they never could have imagined. The discovery of the parrot, with its uncanny ability to mimic human speech, had transformed their understanding of the natural world and their place within it. With the parrot nestled safely in Mila's backpack, the hikers retraced their steps through the forest. The journey back was filled with animated conversation as they recounted the day's unexpected events. Every so often, the parrot would chime in with a phrase, adding a surreal quality to their reflections. The forest, once a place of mystery, now felt like a witness to their extraordinary discovery. Upon reaching an area with cell service, they immediately contacted the local wildlife authorities. Alex explained their find, detailing the parrot's remarkable mimicry and their initial confusion. The authorities, intrigued by their description, requested they bring the parrot to a nearby wildlife shelter for a proper assessment and care. As they continued their walk, a mix of emotions enveloped the group. Relief that their rescue mission had not been in vain, excitement over the uniqueness of their find, and a lingering sense of disbelief. The realization that they had just experienced something truly out of the ordinary was slowly sinking in, leaving them in awe of nature's mysteries. The wildlife shelter was a hub of activity, but everything seemed to pause when they arrived with the parrot. The staff gathered around, marveling at the bird's vibrant colors and its uncanny ability to speak like a human. Their amazement echoed the hikers' initial reactions, reinforcing the rarity of their discovery. One of the shelter staff carefully examined the ring on the parrot's foot. After a few moments of scrutiny, they announced that the bird was indeed registered and had an owner. The revelation sparked a flurry of activity as they began the process of notifying the owner, bringing the group one step closer to solving the final piece of the puzzle of their remarkable adventure. Once the parrot's registration details were confirmed, the shelter staff immediately reached out to the owner. The call was met with an outpouring of relief and joy. The owner had been searching for their missing parrot for weeks. Over the phone, the emotions were palpable, and the group could feel the owner's gratitude even through the distance. Not long after, the owner arrived at the shelter, their face alight with anticipation. They shared the story of how the parrot, known for its remarkable mimicry, had accidentally escaped from home. The owner's affection for the bird was evident in every word, filling the room with a sense of warmth and relief. The reunion between the parrot and its owner was an emotional sight. The bird immediately recognized its owner, its chirps and phrases turning more animated. The hikers watched, deeply moved by the scene. They felt a profound sense of accomplishment, knowing their efforts had reunited a beloved pet with its owner. Word about the hikers' unusual discovery and the subsequent rescue quickly caught the attention of local media. Reporters arrived at the shelter, eager to cover the extraordinary story. The group, initially hesitant, shared their adventure, detailing how they mistook the parrot's mimicry for a human in distress. Their story captivated not just the reporters, but also the wider community. As the day came to a close, the hikers took a moment to reflect on their incredible journey. They shared laughs and memories, bonding over the shared experience. With a newfound appreciation for the unexpected mysteries of nature, they began to plan their next adventure, knowing that the trails would always hold more surprises and lessons for them.